How can your childhood experiences impact your romantic relationships? This is a really exciting topic for me because I truly believe in understanding yourself and going really deep into your whole experiences, childhood, past relationships in order to understand and create awareness around yourself. Because once we have awareness, once we have understanding, we can then move forward and it will be so much easier for you to change and be able to create healthy, fulfilling, harmonious romantic relationships. So let's get started. How can your childhood experiences impact your romantic relationships? Okay, so if you think about it, as a child, we have no prior knowledge or experiences of how to relate to other people. We only learned how to relate to other people through our parents, through our caregivers, and how they related to us, how they related to other people. We saw that, we took that as the blueprint of how to relate, and ever since then, we have that exact same blueprint unless we change or unless we do something about it or unless there is like a core value that you really didn't agree with and you end up saying no and I'm going to do something different, right? So from the ages of 0 to 7, that is the age where you took everything in. You're like a sponge. You are a sponge and you just absorb everything. You adopted everything, every beliefs and everything else that you see your parents doing. Now, this is important because how you are in your intimate relationships, in your romantic relationships, mirror exactly what you believed about love, what you believed about yourself and how to be loved. I want to also focus on the fact that significant events in childhood will have a huge impact on you. You may have developed traumas or wounds from them, okay? So focusing on significant events is going to be really helpful for you as well. And if you need to speak to a psychologist, a therapist about that, I highly recommend it. A significant event for me when I was young was when I was 2 years old. My biological father left the family home. He and my mom separated, but I took in the belief that it must have meant that I was not lovable. That's why he left. I made it mean something about me, even though it wasn't true. He just left because him and my mom were no longer together, right? But as a child, you don't know any better. So you internalize that and you make it mean something about yourself. So I took in the belief that I wasn't lovable, that something's wrong with me. So that was already a core belief that I had about myself. Now, I was looked after by my aunties and they taught me that in order to be loved, I have to do things. I have to clean the house. I have to, do all of these things in order for people to love me. So that was what I believed I had to do in order to be loved. I have to do things for other people. And that became my pattern, right? And I eventually also learned that in order for me to be loved, I needed to fix people. And I saw that was my experience. Like if I did things for other people, it made them really happy. So I ended up fixing and rescuing people and that became my pattern. So in relationships, in adult relationships, I still had that pattern. I still had that belief that I wasn't lovable. I still had that pattern of like, I need to do things for other people in order for them to love me, okay? So that was showing up in my relationships. That was showing up in my romantic relationships. So for you to identify what impacts your childhood experiences have had on you, I would love for you to think about what are the common themes in my relationships, right? Like mine was being the fixer, the rescuer. That was a common theme, and being with controlling partners, that was a common theme. And I could trace that back to my childhood because I was fixing and rescuing as a child, and because I didn't believe that I was lovable, I allowed my partners to control me. I allowed myself to change in order to be loved, right? So figure out what is the common theme that keeps showing up in my relationships. It doesn't have to be in every single relationship, but it can be a common theme that has shown up in 2 or 3 relationships, okay? Then try to trace that back to your childhood. How did you develop those traits or those ways of relating? What were the reasons that you started to relate in those ways? What beliefs do you have about yourself that are showing up in your relationships, okay? And that are basically driving your behaviors. It's a whole process. So this process alone will take you a long time, but it's a very, very important step, and it will give you so much clarity. It will give you so much awareness and understanding about yourself of like, wow, this is why I have related the way that I've related because of my experiences. And this is not about shaming our parents or blaming them either, okay, or your caregivers. It's about just understanding like, this is why I am the way I am. And to forgive your parents, to forgive your caregivers. They did not know any better, okay? And I would also love for you to have compassion for yourself once you uncover certain things, to be like, oh my gosh, I understand myself. I feel so much compassion for the person that I've been, because she was the way she has always been because of what has happened to her. And the best thing is, once you have awareness, this will make it so much easier for you to change your ways of relating, to show up differently. So that step alone is really, really important. That's how your childhood experiences can impact your romantic relationships. Now, I'm going to give you some tips on how to change what you've been struggling with, okay? The issues that you've had in your relationships. The way that we have been relating, certain ways are great and they're probably healthy and you don't need to do anything about them. But if there are certain things that keep popping up in your relationships that you want to change, then this is how you do it. So what you do first is to get really clear on what kind of relationships you want to experience. What kind of partner do you want to have, okay? This step, I would say it's a fun step, okay? It's a fun step because it just lets you imagine, it lets you visualize, and it just lets you be free to visualize whatever it is that you want to visualize. For this step, what I would love for you to do is to actually just close your eyes and visualize. What kind of partner do you want to have? What are the traits? What are the qualities? And what kind of relationship do you want to experience, okay? Do you want somebody who has your back? Do you want somebody who is secure within himself and is a provider? Somebody who is trustworthy? Somebody who respects you? Somebody who adores you and values you and has your back? Somebody who is independent and is kind, right? Just imagine that and experience that in your mind's eye. Just have fun with it. Once you get clear from that visualization, from that imagination, the next step is to think about how do you need to show up differently in order to experience that. So what I really believe is that we get into relationships with people that will bring up our wounds, bring up our traumas, bring up our limiting beliefs. People love to call them that. Or I would love to call them like false beliefs that are not true. And people will bring that up for you in order for you to heal. It's not a bad thing. I think we can see experiences that haven't been so successful or that were painful as like, oh my gosh, I never want to go through that again. But you're meant to attract people who are going to help you heal, and you can't heal unless you are matched with someone who is going to bring up those wounds. Like, that's what it also means when they say you attract a partner who reflects your wounds, right? Like, who reflects you. People are a mirror for a reason, because they're mirroring to you what it is inside of you. Okay, so for example, I kept on attracting partners who were needy, partners who were controlling, partners who needed me to do things for them, partners who would have an issue with me being me, and I would slowly change myself to make them happy. Why? Because that was my experiences in childhood, right? Like, I was fixing, I was rescuing, I was doing things in order to be loved. So that's exactly why I was attracting partners who were bringing those wounds up for me to see, for me to heal. And I was able to heal them. So once I got clear on what kind of relationship I want to attract now, because I've had that awareness, I was able to then be very clear with myself. And it took some time, okay? But I was able to come up with the new ways that I had to show up in order to attract a new kind of relationship, a different kind of relationship. So for me, I wanted to attract somebody who is independent, somebody who has a provider mindset, somebody who has my back, somebody who is secure within himself, right? That isn't going to be controlling. Now, how did I have to show up differently? Well, if I'm going to attract somebody who is independent and self-sufficient, then I need to show up differently, right? I can't be fixing him and rescuing him, because he doesn't need that. And he doesn't want that either. So the way that I started showing up is if somebody has an issue, right? Like, you don't need to only be in a relationship in order to show up differently. You can still show up differently with your friends, with your work colleagues. Start showing up in different relationships, and that will start changing your patterns. It will start changing the way that you're relating as well. So how I showed up differently was, instead of fixing people, rescuing them and jumping in, I would just lean back and allow them to fix their own issues. I allowed them to be independent, right? I allowed them to be self-sufficient, because I was no longer going to perpetuate this fixing, rescuing role. I wanted a partner who has my back. And the way that I have to show up differently is to ask for support, to expect support, to be able to rely on my partner. And if someone shows me that they're not ready to have my back, or they can't have my back, then that is not an aligned relationship for me, right? Like, it's honoring what I want. I want somebody to have my back, and that's how I honor that. It's to, yeah, if somebody has my back, great. If not, then we're not aligned. For the controlling part, if I want to be with somebody who is secure within himself, because if he's secure, then he doesn't need to be controlling, right? If he's secure within himself, then I need to first be secure within myself. I can't expect to be with somebody who is secure when I'm not secure within myself, when I don't trust myself, or if I keep changing myself in order to be loved, then I'm not going to be a match for somebody who is secure within himself and who doesn't want to change me either, right? So I had to show up differently and be really firm in who I am, and be like, this is who I am, and I'm not changing myself for anyone. I had to become secure within myself. I had to change all the insecurities that I have, and I had to learn to be secure with them. And so whatever your relationship vision is that you want to have for yourself, think about what kind of like traits or qualities that you want that person to have, and how do you need to show up differently? What are the small action steps that you can take today that is going to change how you're showing up, so that you can create new ways of relating that are aligned with a new type of relationship? So I hope that this video has helped, and I would love for you to share if this has landed for you, or if you have anything that has popped up in your mind and you're like, oh my gosh, you know, this really resonates. I would love for you to share that in the comment section. And if there is any other topic that you would like me to explore, please drop it in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be here again with a new video.